Welcome to episode 4 of the Gingerspyce Tiefling Druid series. I am level 4, and since last episode all I've done was the first two parts of Waterworks. So let's take a look at where things are. On the gear side, it's largely the same as I showed last level. I do have the trinket that is new. It's got sheltering and resistance on it. Still got the Necklace of Contemplation, the Spell Focus Mastery Helm, with a little bit of fort, but that's redundant now. I'll show you because I have something new on the armor. True Seeing and Persuasion on the goggles. This is new, so I have, as I mentioned in the last episode, fortification is very, very important, and you want to get as much as you can as early as possible. And at level 4, you can use a Sapphire of Moderate Fortification for 75% fortification, and you can get those from some of the collectibles traders, I think in the marketplace for 8 shards if you don't have one of those laying around. And also got electrical absorption on there and invulnerability, just like I had on the previous armor. Also notice that this is a set of skirmish hide armor instead of the basic hide armor. This is like the next tier that starts at level 4 and that has a little bit better armor bonus and max dex bonus compared to the basic. So it's one thing you want to make sure that when you're crafting on like shields and armor blanks that you're using a level appropriate version. So there's different, absolute minimum levels. Like you can see this is absolute minimum level 4. There's like the basic hide, and there's skirmish, and there's like, fey craft and mountain, or I forget all the different, descriptors, but like I said, you want to make sure you're using a level appropriate set of armor, or shield when you're crafting on it with Cane of Crafting. The braces are the same, the ring's the same, boots, gloves, ring, belt, and cloak, all the same. The shield is new. It's got poison resistance on there, cold absorption, nothing too terribly exciting to put on there. Poison resistance isn't bad because some of the champions can do like poison dots, so that helps mitigate some of that damage. Poison can be difficult to mitigate. Cold absorption, we already had electrical absorption on the armor, so I just figured what the hell. But it's certainly not a must, just something I thought I'd put on there. And my weapon is the same. For the wolf, I do have the same armor as last time, but if I was more serious about gearing him up, I would want to craft on, that absolute minimum level 4 version of the leather armor. I think that's also called skirmish, and I would want to, have a blue slot with a sapphire of moderate fortification. But here's the thing. When I did the Northwind 2 series, part of that series was experimenting to see, would the wolf be viable to use in Reaper mode. And in that series I was doing, pretty much all low skull stuff, mostly 1 to 3 skulls. And I found the wolf, was helpful up to like 1 or 2 skulls, even 3 skulls, definitely requiring more healing. But in my experience, beyond about 3 skulls, once you get up to like 4 skulls, the wolf is just too squishy, no matter how hard you try to gear him up, even with past lives and stuff. So that's just my experience. When I didn't have augment summoning, so if you're really serious about wanting to make the wolf something, but that's just not a priority for my build to have things like augment summoning, or to try to work in the wolf enhancements from the Season's Heraldry. But we'll have him out for this episode, see how he does. There's some numbers. Nothing new on the feat side. This is level 4, so I get my first stat point, and of course I take wisdom, and I'll be taking wisdom all the way up through level 30. On the spell side, I decided to take bull strength for my extra 2nd level spell. And that's just so I can give myself a little extra strength, and I can cast that on the wolf too if I'd like. And if there's any melees in my group, at level 4, they'll appreciate bull strength. Most of them will. On the enhancement side, I have fully maxed out the Call Lightning SLA now, so I'm really excited about that. It's just a cooldown of just 6 seconds now. It used to be 8 seconds prior to update 38, but now it's 6 seconds, so that's a little bit nicer, a little bit faster spell rotation. Most of the SLAs not only were moved down a tier, but also most of them their cooldowns were reduced. So that's pretty cool. And by the way, the gear that I'm showing you isn't meant to say, like, this is what you must have to be successful. I'm just showing you what I use, and it'll give you some gearing ideas is all. So I don't want you to feel like, if you're interested in my build, you got to have every last piece just the way that I have it. I'm just showing you where I can fit some things in. I didn't think a whole heck of a lot about this low-level stuff. It's just, some stats and things that I wanted, and that's where they could fit. Oh, one other interesting piece of loot to have for low level, starting at level 4, you can use Gems of the Ocean's Winds. These are actually the greater ones. These come from Crystal Cove, and you can use it to summon a greater air elemental. That's from Summon Monster 8. So having a greater air elemental out and at level 4, and for single digit levels, and even a little bit beyond that, can be really helpful. If you do have some halflings or gnomes in your party, they might be pretty irritated because they can get knocked down by these things, even your own party members. Or they can also blow out firewalls and things if they happen to use their gust of wind attack. So in any event, these are pretty nice, and if you have your whole party using these, it's pretty nice to have a small army of greater air elementals helping you out. It does make a difference in low B Reaper questing for sure. I also want to mention that your old school cargo buffs are really nice in heroic questing. I like to use them up until about level 15. Then I just find that the newer ship buffs are enough. The one touch that you get at the top deck. But I also wanted to show you that the wolf can benefit from some of these. The resist shrines, these greater resist shrines that give 30 resistance, right away at level 1, are great. They only last an hour and they expire on death, but in low B levels, these are excellent. And since these don't require a dialogue option, in other words, you don't have to click on the guy and say, yeah, I want that, you can just one touch with your wolf. Just select the resist shrine and then tell your wolf to use it by clicking on the gears, and he will get those resists. Pretty cool. Oh, and there was one more thing I forgot to mention. Now that I'm level 4, I can spend my Reaper points. The maximum number of Reaper points you can spend at level 4 is 36. So I have Tier 1 fully maxed out here on my Reaper trees. And then I won't be able to spend any more until Tier 2 at level 9, and then at level 10, that's Tier 2 and 8, and at level 10, the Tier 2 up here will be available. So if you're have lower Reaper points and you're struggling with survivability, I would highly encourage you to spend your points in Grim Barricade to begin with. There's lots of extra survivability. You get more hit points from every action point spent in this tree compared to the others. It's 8 hit points in this tree per point spent versus 4 in the others. Plus you got points con, PRR or MRR, saves, dodge, all kinds of good defensive stuff, and a really nice save boost. That gives you +9 to saves, and if you couple that with your, like your PDK clicky, your rallying cry, that's another +3. So you can get like +12 to saves. Like if you need to run through some traps or it's a dicey situation. That's a really, really big boost to your saves. So I love to use that in an emergency or if I need to get through some traps or something. Okie dokie. Now, onto some quests for real. Now that I have some buffs on my buffs bar, I want to make sure that I have Quicken always turned off for them. That's another mana savings tip. No need to quicken your buffs unless it's the kind of a buff that you would want to use in a combat situation. Like Fire Shield's a good example of that. Later on I'll be getting Fire Shield, and that's the kind of thing you're throwing in the middle of combat, so you want to have that quicken. But the buffs that you throw at the beginning of a quest, no need for them to be quickened. The only thing I have against oozes at this point is Call Lightning, and it's on a 6-second cooldown. When I was a newbie, I remember coming here and just not having anything that could damage them and not knowing what to do, and I ended up kiting like an army of oozes through here. I think they probably ended up overwhelming me, but I just remember all those oozes chasing me. Ooh, that's a soulless ooze. Yuck. Oh, crap. I fell and lost my Call Lightning. So here, now that my wolf has some save against traps, I didn't mention the wolf enhancements, but I did pick up the save versus traps. I'm going to go ahead and have him get the valve for us. Hopefully he doesn't die in the traps. There's the first one done. And you can target the next valve and have him run and get that. And you can target the next valve and have him run and get that. Good doggy. here only has 3 Reaper points on this tune. Hide under the ledges until... Ooh, Demon Soul Caster up there. 2 Champ Casters. Until my SLAs come off cooldown. We can bring the other ones back into the pipe. You're gonna get overwhelmed if you stay out there.
I got the Soul of Ice and the Stone. And I keep that one still.
And there goes the wolf. The Reaper power boost. Why not? That's what it's for, right? See if we can stone that guy. Yep, got him stoned with the Petrifying Runestone. The wolf ran up there.
Oh, remnant down here.
Buffs ran out.
The thing about the low levels is you're constantly having to buff and heal yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Everything runs out so fast.
So a little tip that I learned to get over there, instead of trying to jump, just press forward. And that didn't work. Let's try that again. Nimbin's little trick didn't work.
I know, I tried that. I just walked out and fell.
There we go.
You said you're supposed
Got it
to
this
just be
time.
able to step out.
I think it was at a bad angle or something.
I got the jump. Woohoo. I keep wanting to hurl through hell and finger at death, but it's just not there.
Oh, I know, right? There's gonna be some traps here. I'll summon a hyena before I rest. And I'll throw Snarl a full strength. he'll snarl up. Now a little tip, if you gotta run your wolf through traps and you don't want him to get through there, you don't want him to get caught through there, what you can do is just park your wolf, right? And then we're gonna go through the traps. Oh, there's another box over there. Okay, and then once we get far enough away so that he's not gonna run through there. See, if you're far enough away and you call your wolf to you, he just teleports to you. See, so I'm gonna hit the little footsteps there to call him to me, and he comes right to me. He doesn't have to go through the traps.
Damn it.
Don't fall all the way down if you can. Here, if you're nimble, you should be able to target one of them and at least get him out of the way.
Oh, Fear Reaper.
Oh, and I fell in the water.
Oh shit. Oh, yeah.
It's easy to get overwhelmed here. And you went down before me, so you got initial aggro.
Yeah,
Still in the Soul of Cruelty.
Comes the Fear Reaper.
Make sure he's out of the way.
Oh, he just fell in the water.
That means he's gonna reset, which he did. Pandemonium. This is not good. So many champions.
I can gibberish to help. I think. If that'll help. And then charms and cobalt.
I'm gonna use this pillar as cover.
Watch out, watch out. Pandemonium right there.
Creeping Cold might finish him off. Nope. Hit him again. And duck back behind here. Crisis averted.
Some remnants there where you were.
Oh, I got him. Thank you.
They killed your snow.
Yep. Hey, guess what? We can charm spiders. And they can go fight some oozes for us. We'll pull out another hyena. And we'll even give the hyena some bull strength. Use the rest of the mana to heal myself with Cure Light Wounds. And now we'll shrine. I don't have any buffs for you at this point except for jump. So if you need to jump.
Oh, jump would help. I don't have much yet either. Jump is always good.
Let's go ahead and have a Yugo pot.
I can dance.
Fear Reaper. Oops, I hit the wrong boost. Hit the saves boost and I meant to hit the spell power boost. I'm gonna bring him back through the door again. I tried to stone that beast mark, but it didn't stone.
Don't forget your rubble.
Oh, thank you. Did not mean to summon a hyena there. I'm not really a big fan of this quest because I feel like Ven's body is always in the very last place I ever look. Every time. You know, it's always that one place, that one grate that I walked right by, or it was around the corner from where I was, and Seldomly do I find him right away. Or anything remotely close to right away. And I always open up all the gates because, you know, I feel like if I don't open it, I'm gonna miss it. Mushroom. Well, I guess we can go up this way now.
Let me take him out.
You don't have to. Well, at least we're getting breakables bonus.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mushroom. Garney up ahead.
Hey, here he is.
Yay.
At least it wasn't the very last one we checked. Close, but...
Two cages.